David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and just like to thank the Minister, the new Minister, and congratulate him on taking up the role of the Road User Charges Bill, and look forward to progressing and look forward to the many transport initiatives that he will bring to this House that will be good for the New Zealand economy and the New Zealand transport sector. And I'd like to thank the Labour Party as well for their support during the committee stages, and the Green Party and all the other parties that were part of that process. Pardon? Yeah, no, the committee approached this issue in a very constructive manner. They looked at the issues from the perspective not only of the government needing to reform, but also from the perspective of the industry and also the wider sector of transport. And I think we came to a pretty good solution in the sense that, as has been said, there was need for some decent change in this area. And if that change hadn't been accommodated through this process, then we would get to the results that the Labour Party found when it tried to make some changes without full consultation, and there were a lot of protests. And I don't think the trucking industry or anyone else wants to go through that necessarily again. The Labour Party has made a few comments about supporting the bill but having some reservations, and I'd just like to cover off some of those reservations. The movement to the gross weights, and the Labour Party indicate that they didn't feel they had sufficient evidence. Well, I think they need to go out into the real world and see how it works out there. And you know, if you're in the trucking industry and you have to identify those weights every time, that makes it particularly difficult. Two, if you've got a lot of staff involved in that process, it puts a lot of responsibility onto them, and can make it very difficult when you've got high fines that are the result of making mistakes there. A third issue is that, you know, in an industry or any business, you'll want to get the most productivity out of your vehicle, and you'll want to do the best you can. And so sometimes you will push the boundaries, and that is human nature, I guess. And we see that through all our laws in regard to the roads, that they're pretty strict. So in essence, there are a lot of reasons why it can happen, and it does happen out there. And to put your head in the sand and say there was no problem really isn't the case. People need some certainty. This bill gives that certainty and gives it in a manner which is in the best interests of the industry. Another issue that they did raise was the environmental aspect. Well, this will actually encourage people to make sure, because they're paying to the gross weight of that vehicle, to actually utilise the full vehicle weight. And so it should actually be more environmentally friendly, contrary to the Labour Party contentions, because people will try and utilise that full weight because they're paying for it. There are ways of getting that back, but essentially they're going to pay, so they will use it. And that will not mean that we have a lot more smaller trucks on the road. It will actually mean that the trucks on the road are as efficient and utilised as well as possible. The other area that the Labour Party brought to our attention just before is in regard to regulations covering the detail. Well, simply we can't, as this Parliament, do all that detail here. I know the Labour Party likes to have a situation where the government controls everything in this country out of this room, but we actually need to give the industry and the Beer Caucus room wouldn't be able to control much at the moment, but the thing is that it can't necessarily be set here. And we need regulation, and that is the fit and proper process to do that, so that we've got that flexibility within it, and it also gives the ability for change if it's necessary, rather than having to come through this Parliament every 5 minutes to do a new RUC bill. And I think that the Minister and the officials have come to the right decision and the right balance in how they are using regulation to achieve the purpose of giving that flexibility in the system. So it's good to hear that the parties, the major opposition party anyway, is supporting it, but their contentions of why they have problems with it aren't valid, and this is a good bill and it will achieve its purposes and deliver the results we need for the transport sector. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Speaker.
Darian Fenton.
Thank you. I'm pleased to take the opportunity